The essence of gender confusion, the real thing, not the self-serving or attention-seeking kind, because there are those who do push this dishonestly, and they harm the interests of those who genuinely experience these issues. The essence of this confusion lies in the nature of the soul and the fact that souls reincarnate. Each of us has our own biases. We are biased in our own unique ways, and this biasing, along with the personality tools we bring with us into a particular lifetime, define the personalities with which we approach and process the experience or catalyst of that life. Catalyst can be defined as a situation in which we find meaning from which we may grow. The meaning which we take from our experiences in life and which we use to spur growth within our innermost being is a prime motivator for choosing and living an incarnation. As we move through life, we encounter catalyst, and if we process this catalyst and learn from it, we grow as a soul, becoming richer in experience. This catalyst, once processed, alters our biases and can alter our reactions to further catalyst. The lessons we learn from any particular catalyst varies between souls. Some people might run from a thief, some might fight. Others might talk, others might remain silent. Some might be struck with fear, others with hatred, others with disgust, others with compassion. Each of us is on a path of growth. Our rate of progress varies. Our areas of competence and weakness vary. There is much work of a subtle nature to be done in consciousness as we grow towards the perfection of our Creator. When we are outside of incarnation as souls, our priorities are often different from those we hold in life. There is a desire to learn and grow, and that desire often leads us to choose difficult lessons, to walk difficult paths, and there are many forms of suffering. As reincarnating souls, each of us has lived many lives, and it is common for souls to live as different genders in different lives. Each gender offers its own unique set of opportunities for growth through experience. There are archetypal thoughts, which are things in and of themselves. There is the archetypal female and the archetypal male. Male and female in their purest form, and the best description I've ever heard of them comes from a series of channelings called the Law of One. The archetypal male is that which reaches, and the archetypal female is that which awaits the reaching. Very few people will be solely one or the other. Each of us is most likely a mixture of the two archetypes, in addition to being a mixture of many other things. Gender confusion can occur for a number of reasons, but the most likely is that a particular soul has a bias towards one gender, but chooses to incarnate in a body which represents the other gender. Some people are balanced such that they can move in and out of either role, being comfortable with either archetype. The experience of feeling as though you are in the wrong body can lead to a crisis of identity and great suffering. This is a result of a lack of perspective, of a limitation of viewpoint. If you think of yourself as your body, and this life as your only life, then obviously you will be distressed by the feeling that your form is wrong and that you are not being correctly expressed as a human being. There will be a sense of injustice and a feeling that you have been stripped of your true identity, that your deepest self can never find expression. This is an agonizing sorrow. Every heart yearns for self-expression. If this need isn't met, and cannot be met, then you will carry a great burden with you through life, a burden you may be unable to bear. The solution to this crisis of identity lies in the truth that we are reincarnating souls, and that we choose our experiences with the goal of personal growth and also with the aim of aiding others in their growth. Your suffering has meaning. Search out that meaning and learn the lessons being offered to you. Gaining experience from the catalyst you chose when you entered this life. Trust that you knew what you were doing. How much strength have you gained from your suffering? What have you learned from your experiences? Have you gained compassion for others? Have you learned the subtleties of understanding? If you can work through your difficulties, your anger or bitterness or sorrow, process them, understand them, accept them, and let them go, you'll feel much lighter, far more free. That is the path to healing the pain. For those of you who try to escape through suicide, please understand that you don't end at death, and that you will still seek to learn these lessons. Have compassion for yourself and work at this difficult challenge. Please don't run from it. You run the risk of going through all of it again. Ask yourself, what is it that I'm meant to learn from these experiences? How can I grow from these trials? Out of the depths of deepest suffering grow the seeds of fullest salvation. If you can heal pain within yourself, you can guide others out of their sorrow. Perhaps the purpose is to explore the gender of your birth. Some women have very masculine characters and may be unable to offer themselves fully to a partner. Some men may have very feminine characters and may lack directness. This isn't your only life, it's just one of them. Have you thought about giving it a shot and exploring what's on offer? This is a very personal decision, and I won't tell you that you should or shouldn't, only that it is a possibility. You have the opportunity to explore something outside of your comfort zone if you choose to. I hope that it's sufficient comfort to you that your identity is not defined by the body you inhabit in this life, but by the nature of your soul. We live in a universe of tremendous freedom and meaning. When you're deep in sorrow, take a moment to look up and reach for perspective. Take comfort in knowing that you believed that you could handle the pain, and that there is meaning to be found within that pain, and that this is only one moment in the grand journey of your soul. What about the other genders, I hear you say? Here we encounter a disagreement, but it's not what you might think. I recognize only two genders, but I also recognize an infinity of individuals. There are two archetypes of gender, of which we all partake to some degree. There are many ways to express these genders. There are also many forms of personal expression. There is no limit to the ways in which an individual can find expression. The problem with identity politics in general is the way in which we are placed into identity groups. This is a fundamental error. As Ayn Rand put it, the smallest minority of all is the individual. We are all individuals, and each of us is unique. We will all express our unique identities. Trying to find a label to place upon our identities is a very odd idea. You're not some strange non-binary otherkin. You are you. You are unique. You already have a name to use as a label, so use that. Why are you looking to find validation in a group when the truth is that you are an individual, no matter how conventional or outlandish you may be? No matter the form your self-expression takes, you are always an individual, and individuals change. As an individual, you can change without needing a new label. Feel free to find people of like mind, but the groups of identity politics will always fragment, because the truth is that we are all individuals and we are all changing. Women are not a monolith. They don't all think the same way. This is true of men, of gays, of queers, of blacks, of whites, of all groups. Each of us is an individual and should be judged on individual merit, not on arbitrary characteristics. Anyone telling you that all of this group or that group, based upon arbitrary characteristics, think the same way and act as a monolith, better have good evidence to back up the claim. It strikes me that there are many people who seek to control us by dividing us into groups and inciting conflict. By judging people as groups, individuals are denied moral agency and can be dehumanized and become subject to hate based upon arbitrary characteristics. Judge people by their choices and actions, not by their circumstances of birth. We should love and respect each other enough to permit mutual freedom. Let people explore their individuality so long as they aren't harming others against their will. Leave the hatred, fear, and intolerance behind. If you wish to be respected as an individual, you should respect others as individuals, even if you disagree with them. If it's wrong for them to use violence and legal oppression against you, then it's wrong for you to use violence and legal oppression against them. Freedom of the individual is dependent upon freedom of speech, and free speech must include offensive speech, such as so-called hate speech. Whenever you pass a law, ask yourself, what would my worst enemy do if he had this power? You might like the way the law is used to restrict others, but someday, someone who disagrees with you will hold authority over you. Don't set the precedent that they are permitted to persecute those they disagree with. Remember that just as you might be offended by others, they might be offended by you. Let's allow hateful words so that we are spared from hateful actions. When we empower the least tolerant in society to restrict individual expression, we become prisoners of the intolerant and cannot be fully self-expressed. Let's abandon the merchants of hate who profit from division and gain from our weakness. Instead, let's embrace a mutual respect and tolerance. Let us brush off harsh words and seek understanding through compassion. We won't heal the world through legal restrictions and penalties, but through personal change, through self-transformation and growth, by finding strength in the face of adversity. There is a unity to be found where each of us is permitted the freedom to express our hearts without the need to stifle the hearts of others. We begin by healing ourselves. Then we can reach out to soothe the pain of others. So then, back to the purpose of this video. To those of you who feel a disconnect between your gender of birth and the identity of your soul, know that your experience has meaning, that your true identity is deeper than your flesh. You are not counterfeit men and women. You are not mistakes, and your full identity will find expression once again. Bear with the pain and grow in compassion. All the best.